Do me a favor, could you mute your mic, guys, so it will not have any noise? Okay, thank you so much. So I'm recording the session, and today it's an additional session. It's not really in the curriculum, but it's quite important. We need to set up the lab, and I already uploaded on our platform. I mean, if any of you guys checked the course platform, you will find that I added a section about setting up your virtual lab. Okay, so I noticed that some of you face some problem. This is a team meeting. And here I think you should find building a testing lab. So this section has all the videos that explain how to set up the lab. Okay, but today's session is not that long, it's around 30 minutes, and I wanted to show you how to start. Maybe you are facing problem how to start building the lab. I mean, maybe if we work together doing the first 2 or 3 videos, you will be able to continue it by yourself, okay? So the purpose of this session is to show you how to set up your lab. First, why do we need to set up a lab? Okay, you know that our program is a cybersecurity specialist program, which will qualify you to a specific title, cybersecurity specialist. And we are not implementers. I mean, we are not the one who go to any organization and start configuring their Active Directory and configuring the group policy and configuring the firewall, but we are responsible to verify that. Okay, so during your work as a cybersecurity or information security specialist, you're going to audit network team, you're going to audit Windows team, you're going to audit development, you're going to audit database team. So you need to know how to check for a specific setting. For instance, next Sunday, we're going to talk about access control. Okay, now access control, a part of the access control is like administration security, is not technical, and another part is technical. So for instance, in ISO 27001, they are saying you should limit the number of users who have admin account. Admin account is the high privilege account. Okay, you know that this control should be in place. How can you verify? Okay, if you don't know how to check, how to go and verify specific setting, how can you log into the server and check the amount of people who have admin setting? Okay, I hope I'm getting myself clear. I'm not, what we're gonna do is today, and I'm asking you to build the lab. This is not an operational task that you're gonna do it daily in your work, but I'm doing that just to let you know how to check, how to verify, okay? Definitely, it will be very useful for you. I don't know why people is not logging using their InfoSec account, because now I have to keep going and accept people. Anyway, so the reason I'm asking you to do that, to be able to verify. You're going to do the implementation only one time, but realistically in your business, you are not the one who's doing the implementation. Okay, we are doing that for specific purpose. So why we are building a lab? Just to see how the network and the password policy are getting applied. It's part of your jobs. I know that our task, 60% or 70% is not technical and 30% is technical. But still, you're going to need from time to time to audit Windows team, technical team, network team. So you need to know the setting and you need to be able to log in and check your security control are in place or not. Okay. Also, we need to have a virtual lab to be able to evaluate some of the product. We have a project related to DLP, right? I'm going to tell you about different software. And if your company requested to buy a DLP, DLP is data loss prevention or data leakage prevention, or an antivirus software, and you need to install it on a machine to check its functionality, its feature, okay? Because your manager asked you to select between different products. So how are you going to practice that during our program? I cannot keep everything done theoretically, telling you this program is good and this program is bad, right? You need to be able to install it on a virtual machine and check specific task or a specific functionality, and then write a report to your management telling I evaluate between those three different products. Those are the advantage and disadvantage in each one of them. Okay, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. This is not a program to qualify you to become a penetration testing. Okay, penetration testing, which means like an ethical hacker to check the weakness in the system. But one of your role will be to request company or entity to do a penetration testing to your organization and give you a report. And then you need to understand the report. So I need to show you how the penetration testing is done, what will be the output, so you will understand the report once you receive it from a different entity. So you need to understand the vulnerability assessment report. You need to understand vulnerability assessment. Most of the time it's done locally in your organization. You buy software, it will do a vulnerability assessment and give you a report. You need to be able to read the report, to know the patching process, what patching are missing. Some of the new vulnerability, is it affecting our system or not? Don't worry about the terminology. Everything that I'm talking about, you will learn from scratch. So I'm not depending on your background in any way, but I'm telling you the benefit of having a virtual lab. So you will be able to test all those assignments or to test or be able to perform all those tasks locally from your computer as part of your jobs, because you will be getting questions about that inside any interview. So you need to practice that yourself and not just depend on the theoretical knowledge or on YouTube videos or anything like that. Everything that we are talking about, technically or not technically, need to be tested from your side. Okay. Also regarding control verification, network audit. When we are audit a network and we are checking specific control, we have a section related to network inside the ISO 27001. If you didn't checked, or if you are not familiar with the network setting, you didn't build a small network, you don't know the different network component, it will be hard to audit a network. DB audit, okay? None of you, for instance, even myself, I didn't know that much about DB previously, but I installed the database on one of the virtual machine and I start checking what is the comments that allow me to check the audit, what is to check the logs, what is the comments that allow me to check the accounts, the privilege, okay? So very, very useful. Some of the infrastructure in organization will have different operating system, Unix and Windows and Linux, okay? How can I audit? How can I check the setting? Okay, and finally, some of the tools that we're going to use for security assessment, like Kali Linux, GNAC Track, those are some software that is used for security assessment. Also, we're going to install them on virtual machine to be able to test or assess the security in organization. So those are some of the benefits that we need to, that we will not be able to use unless we have a virtual lab. And it's related to our work. So it's not just to create policy and procedures and business continuity. And yes, this is the main part of our jobs, but also there is some technical part. And the best way to practice the technical part is to have a virtual lab. Guys, allow me 1 second. Okay, guys, one question for you before we proceed. Let's see how many people we have now. Any one of you came from a network background?
Me.
So you have some network knowledge?
12 years.
Okay,
No,
good. Okay, I will not depend on that. I will explain some. Yeah, I'm sorry, you are saying? Anyone else came from a network background? Okay, fine. So I will not depend on your background. I will explain the very basic terminology. So please, if you have some network background, don't feel boring. Some people, this is new to them. And we're going to explain the fundamentals of network in a very brief way, okay? But before doing that, let me just explain to you one more time what is a virtual machine environment. It's to build few logical machine on your computer. Like in my case here, I have a Windows Server, I have Windows 7, Windows 7.2, Kali, Linux, and I build more and more. And I can right click on any one of them and run it. So I will be having a server running on my machine, or Windows 7 or Windows 10. I can have like 6, 7 machine running in parallel. And then I can try to test an attack, and I can try to test, because I have a lecture just to explain different attacks and show you how the attacks is done. Because as a cybersecurity specialist, you need to be aware of that. You need to know what is a denial of service, how it's done. You need to know what is a brute force attack, how it's done. You need to know the sniffing attack, right? How can I practice attack? Should I do that in my company over real machine? Definitely not. So we will have virtual machines that act exactly like physical machine. It's exactly like your own computer, except you can test whatever you want. You can create a virus, you can try to hack, you can try to do whatever you do, just to understand the problem and to be able to identify how to protect against this problem in a real environment. Okay. So again, just to let you know, I'm going to just go through some very basic terminology. If this is new to you, it's fine. If not, don't feel boring. I will not spend much time explaining that. So network is the core of any business right now, right? If you go to any company, if you get hired in any company, all their business are based on information on a network. All their services are based on their network, okay? For instance, can you use email in a company if you don't have a network? Definitely not. Can you use, those customer relationship program or any kind of applications like the web application or any business application if you don't have a network? Definitely not. So everything now is based on the existing of a network. Okay, so an important part of your work as an information security, because the information is stored on a network environment, on different machine and on a server on a network environment. So you need to understand how the network works and how can you validate the security control inside the network, right? How people are logging to the network, how people are how can you make sure that people password and account will not compromised on the network? What is the network weakness and what is the network's common attacks? You need to understand that very well. So the network is the supportive core of any business. If you don't have a network, you will not be able to run your business. And if you have a vulnerable network that anyone can hack, this is actually could make things worse, right? Because you are using a network, it's not secure, so your information could get compromised, hacked. Then you're going to have problem, legal problem, and financial problem and reputation problem. Okay, so that's why I'm asking you to build a network to test whatever we're going to talk about when it comes to network. Now the question is, how can I build a network? Should I need to buy a router, switch, machines, server? No, you're going to do everything virtually. Okay. In network, we have two different types of network. Okay. The first network is the network that you are using home, right? Right now, at your home where you are sitting, you are connected to a network. How can you connect to me right now? Definitely, you are connected through a network at your home, and this network include your smartphone and tablet and laptop and your family machines and laptop and tablet and so on, you are all connected to the same network, right? Which is you have one routers. All of you are connected to the router to be able to connect to the internet, but you are inside a network, right? But this is or this kind of network, which we usually call a work group network, doesn't have a centralized administration. I mean, let me give you an example. You are working from, or you are now watching me from home, okay, through your laptop. Also, you have your son sitting on his computer in a different room and he's connected to the internet in the same network. And you have your wife or husband sitting in this, at house right now and working in a different place. You are all using different machines, but connected to the same network, to the internet, right? Can you, from your computer, put some controls on the people who are using the network? Can you prevent people from the same network to not use the internet, to limit the internet usage, to limit the download? Do you have any kind of control on the network, or only the controls that you have, it's on your machine? Guys, I'm sorry about the introduction. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, but it's important to understand what we are doing, right? Because the setting of the virtual machine is straightforward, but it's important to understand about what we are doing exactly, okay? Then setting up a virtual machine, it will not be a problem at all. So my question was, can you, for instance, from your computer, put any kind of control over your network? Can you put any kind of rules so your kids will not be able to access some of the website or some of the shared services? Guys, please mute your mic if you don't mind. Definitely not, right? That's why we cannot use this kind of network in any type of business, right? Because we don't have control. In business, control is very, very important. That's why in business, we use a different type of network, which is a domain controller or a domain client network. Domain client network, I will be having a server, okay? And I'm going to have different type of machine. It could be a laptop, it could be a tablet, it could be a personal PC, it could be a smartphone. Everyone is using his own device. And on the server, I can have control on those people. I can prevent people from using the internet, or allow them to only visit specific website that is related to business, or prevent them for using USB, because usually Flash get shared or get spreaded through USB, or I can check their activity, right? So this is very suitable for a company, right? So the type of network that is used in any company is different than what we are using at home. What we are using at home, it's called work group network, which we usually don't do any setting. I mean, once you like open the Wi-Fi on your computer, it will check any access point and connect to it, and you become a member of the network. So if you think about it, you didn't do any setting in your computers and laptop and tablet at home. Everything was connected automatically. But in organizations, they have different type of network, which is a domain controller. I need to have a server. The server need to be configured. Then I need to put rules according to the policies that I'm going to create. And I need to apply this rule on all the machines inside my network so I can have control. So if I know about specific risk, I can put some rules that prevent this risk. Okay. To be able to do that, we need two different types of operating system. The machines itself will use the common operating system. I can have Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. What do we call that? This is called client operating system. Okay, but the server has a different type of operating system. Okay, this is called server operating system, which is server Windows Server 2012, 2016, 2019, and before there is 2008. So there is different operating system used. What I'm using on a computer is different than what I'm using on a server. And this is what we're going to do right now. Okay. So what we will do first, we will install VMware Player. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to create a virtual machines. Then we're going to install the server operating system. As I explained, server has a different type of operating system. And then I'm going to install a client operating system. And then we're going to configure the server domain controller. But actually 5, 6, and 7, I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it today. But if you do 1, 2, 3, you will definitely understand the concept. 5, 6, 7 will not be an issue. You can watch them from the video on the platform. It will be done. But if you have time, I will do it for you, which is configuring the domain controller and creating a group policy and applying the policy. So let's start, and at least let's show you how the process will be done. There is some terminology that also it's quite basics, but we're going to explain it while we are doing what is the IP, DNS, DHCP, and so on. Okay. Any question before we start about the basics introductions that I explained?
Yes, sir. I have one question.
Please go ahead.
With regards to the domain controller in a organization which has got a domain controller, this is very much possible. But how do we handle locations where we do not have a domain controller, or we have heterogeneous kinds of systems? Like, say, for example, you have Windows based, you have Apple based systems, you have Linux based systems. So how do we do control in such a heterogeneous setup?
You cannot have one control in an environment like that. Domain controller should be in place. If you work in a company as they don't have a domain controller, this will be a big problem. You have to strongly suggest that they should have a domain controller. But definitely you will find some other Apple machines and some Linux machine. You're going to handle each environment separately. Okay? You cannot have a centralized from a Windows to all the other platforms. But don't worry, we'll get to that. What I need right now is to get you comfortable, especially people who are new to that, comfortable about what is the domain controller, what is the accounts, because this will be related to the access controls, the risk assessment, you know what I mean? So please, guys, if this is new to you, don't worry, take your time to understand. You will not be requested to implement that in a real business environment, but you need to understand how things are working and how can you verify, right? So you cannot say, no, guys, I didn't install the domain controller. I don't know how to log in to the domain controller and check the group policy, for instance, or the password policy. This is not acceptable, okay? It's acceptable to say, I will not install it or configure a group policy. I'm asking the Windows team to do that. But I can go over or after them and check if they did it the right way or not, okay? Okay, any other question? Okay, good. Let me just close that so we'll not have any disturbing. Okay, now everything that we're gonna use, all the applications that we will use during our program, okay, which include installing a virtual machine. Sometimes I'm gonna share with you a software and ask you to install it and test it or something like that, will be kept inside our share folder. Let me show you exactly where. Today, guys, I have a problem with my machine. I think I have a problem with the hard drive, so we may expect some delay. Hopefully, it will not be affecting our session. So inside, excellent. So let's do that together. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. 1 second, please.
Sure. Your machine gets the, okay, good.
Sorry
so,
about that.
It's okay. Open the VMware player. Installation of VMware player is straightforward, actually. It doesn't there isn't any change, any setting to change while you are doing that, right? And once you have the installation, it will be as you can see here, right? Now, we need first to create the virtual machine, okay? How can we do that? From the right pane, you're gonna select create a virtual machine, which is the first option. Yes, please. Okay, now from the first option here, he's asking you from where you're going to operate create the operating system. You need to select the last option, which is I will install the operating system later, and then click on next. Okay. Okay, here he's asking you the virtual machines that you're going to create, what operating system you will have on it. Our first operating system is Windows Server 2012. So you select from those bottom windows, and then from the below drop list, select Windows Server 2012, because this is the image that we have. Okay, Windows Server 2012. Okay. Just kindly take some notes about some restriction while doing that, so it will not cause problem on your physical machine. Okay, good. Then you select next. Yeah, here is quite important, because by default, he will store this virtual machine on your C drive, right? So usually those virtual machines keep getting increased. So if you don't have enough storage on the C drive, in future, it will start causing you problem on your machine, slowness and problem and so on. So it's always recommend to change the location of the installation to become on a different drive where you have enough space, or on an external hard drive. If you have an external hard drive, you can dedicate this external hard drive to create all the image on it, and it will be much easier. So in your side, just check any free storage. Don't worry, you can delete it later after the session, but right now, just select any place.
Yeah, I don't have a free storage, so it's stored
keep
here
it on
on
the C.
document.
Keep it on the C right now, and you can delete it later on, and then you can connect an external hard drive and install it on your external hard drive. Guys, if I'm talking too fast, just let me know.
No problem. So I'll just make a new folder.
Yeah.
Or leave it on C.
Leave it on C, and create a folder under the name of VM, for instance, and leave it on C. But we're going to remove it later on to create your lab properly, in a proper way. So now I'm just guiding you through the step, and then click on OK. So my point here, to select the location where you're going to install the virtual machine, and try not to make it on the C drive.
Okay, so I've selected a folder on the C drive.
Okay, fine. Click on OK, and then click on Next. Okay. Here he's asking you about the storage that he's going to take 60 GB. It doesn't mean that he will take 60 GB right away. It means that he can expand up to 60 GB. I will leave it the same way it is. Next. Okay, next. You finish. That's it. Straightforward. And then, okay. So now your virtual machine is created, but it doesn't have an operating system yet. It's like you bought a new computer or laptop, but doesn't have any operating system on it, okay? Now, before installing the operating system, I want you to create another virtual machine, but for Windows 7, okay? So go back to the home, create on a virtual, follow the same steps, but instead of Windows Server 2012, please select Windows 7. Guys, are you following, or any of you are facing any problem, or I'm going too fast? Please let me know.
Yes. Question: why we don't choose the option with creating the ISO image in the beginning?
Because he's going to ask you to point to the ISO image. Where is it? It's better to create the virtual machine. Make sure to select all the proper setting. Then I can point to the ISO image, or the image of the operating system, and install it. It will be, for me, it's much easier. Okay, and this is how we are creating a virtual machine. Later on, we're going to create a virtual machine for Kali Linux. We're going to do the same, except when it comes to the operating system, I will select Linux, and then I'm going to select the proper Linux. Forget about Linux. Don't worry, if you don't have any experience with that, you will get to know about it. But this is how we are creating different operating system. And the good thing about VMware is that you can install a variety of software. You can install Windows, you can install Linux, you can install Novel. There is a lot of operating system. Anyway, now I created the two image, and I can create more and more, but I created two image, but they don't have any operating system yet, right? So if you go to Windows Server 2012 and try to open this machine by clicking on this red button, green button, it will not open anything. It will say that they're searching for an operating system. So what I need to do right now is to install the operating system on it. And this is what I kept in our share folder, okay? How to install the operating system inside the Windows Server Okay, as I told you, there is some steps that you need to get like notes, so you will not have this kind of mistake during the installation. Okay, how can I install the operating system first in my Windows Server? Okay, please go right click on Windows Server 2012, right click on this virtual machine and go to setting, virtual machine setting. Here you can see the setting of the machine, like the storage of the machine, the memory the machine have, the display, all the setting related to this machine, right? So I will keep everything as default. In the future, I may need to increase memory, but you need to be careful because it's taken from your original machine. So I want you to go to the CD DVD from this left side, CD DVD. Right now, the virtual machine are using your own CD DVD. If your computer has a CD DVD and you plugged a CD DVD, the virtual machine can detect it. I don't want that right now. I want to select the second option on the right, which is use ISO image. Can you see that? I'm telling him instead of using the CD of computer, I'm going to show you an ISO image that includes operating system, and I want you to download or to install the operating system from this ISO image. Okay, from where can I get the ISO image? This is where I kept all the ISO image inside our share folder. So please click on browse and go to our share folder and go to the virtual machine. See, those are images. First one, it's a Windows Server 2012. Can you see? This is a trial version of Microsoft. So you click on this one and click on OK, or open, I'm sorry. And here you click on OK. By doing that, you are telling to VMware players that I need to install this operating system from this file that is stored on our share folder on this virtual machine. Okay, and you click on OK. Otherwise, if you run the machine, it will not do anything. Then click on OK. So now the image, it's mapped to our virtual machine. Okay, so what happened? Yeah. Now what you need to do is to run the machine. Right click on, just click on OK from the right side on the setting. Yes, and you can right click on the Windows Server 2012 and click on Power On. Okay, so this is like installing a Windows inside the machine, but a server Windows. Click on Remind Me Later. You don't need to do that everything. You're going to start the machine. This is a one-time process. You install the virtual machine and that's it. Next time you're going to run this machine, it will have an operating system just like your laptop, Windows 7 or server. Okay, so you open, you log in, and that's it. So the installation is only done one time. Okay. Don't forget, as I told you, that we are installing a server on a server machine and a client, because we are building a server client machine. Okay, click on OK on this one, yeah, install now. Now, one of the notes that you need to take while installing the server, very important. Yeah, please click on install now. That when you start installing a server, you will have at the beginning different feature. Okay, there is a GUI. As you can see, you have 4 different feature inside the installation. Okay, make sure to select the standard GUI, which is the second one. Okay, otherwise, if you select the first one, he will select the server to be managed in a command line. You will not have a graphical interface. You will log into a prompt and then you need to manage with the command. But GUI will be installing the graphical Windows server. So it will be easier to manage. So please make sure to install or to select the second one, the standard GUI. Then click on next. Okay, accept the agreement. It's a trial version. It doesn't violate any copyright. Here, he's asking you, is this an upgrade or a default or a custom installation? It's not an upgrade because this is a new server, right? A new virtual server. So I'm going to select the second option. And he's asking it will be installed on C drive. This is all the virtual drive. Don't worry, nothing will affect your personal computer. Nothing will be installed, nothing will change the setting. So you don't have to worry. When we install a virtual machine, it's completely isolated than your computer. Yes, click on start or next. And that's it. You're going to start the installation. Is it hard? And you can have 1 or 2 or 3 servers. But again, it depends about the storage that you have on your computer. It depends about the memories that you have, and so on. So far, guys, do you have any question? He will complete the installation until he reach a stage where he's going to ask you to create a password for the account. So far, guys, do you have any question?
Professor, if you remember, the first time I was installing it, it said I have to update it. I want to find out whether this one is already updated.
No, actually, the thing is, when you start the installation, wait, don't do anything. When you start the installation, you had 2 options. Select, is it an update or is it a custom? You need to select custom because default is update. Update or upgrade means that you already have an operating system, but you are upgrading it. This is not the case. The case is that we are creating a brand new virtual machine. So the wrong options that you selected the first one while you're installing, you need to select the second one, the custom installation. Okay, guys. What we can do now, we can keep the installation running and we can install the Windows Server so we can work in parallel, right? Instead of waiting here and there. Let's work in parallel. So do me a favor, just minimize this one, keep the installation running. And go back to the VMware, run, and go to the Windows 7 now. And let's follow the same step. I need to show to this virtual machine from where he should install the Windows 7 that I kept it on our share folder. Okay, go to Windows 7, go to setting, I'm sorry, and in the ISO image, okay, I want you to go exactly and go to the browse in our share folder, and I kept in English Windows 7, you will find it there, from where you can install Windows 7. This is the image for Windows 7. It's English.
The second one, this one?
Yes, exactly, yes, this one, okay? And click on OK. This is like a CD. This image, the ISO image, is like a CD that includes the operating system that we use. In previous time, we used the CD to install on a physical machine. And then you can run the machine the same way I did before, and you can follow the same steps. So now you are installing on 2 different machines in parallel. Okay, Debbie, do me a favor. Can you put the 2 machines beside each other? The 2 windows that is, yes, exactly like that. So at least we will be working in parallel. Thank you. See, now I have 2 virtual machines. They are acting like physical machines. They will have internet access. You can install any program on them. You can change setting. You can do whatever you want. Very important for a security specialist to have a virtual lab. We are using that a lot, right? And now we are like 1 machine is installing. Second, we are preparing for installation. Okay, so we're going to select the default setting, language and keyboard and everything. Click on next. Here you will not have the same option in Windows Server, where we kept we selected the GUI. We only have 1 option here. So you select the installation. And I believe the server has completed. Wait, don't do anything. Just let's work. Accept the agreement. Samuel, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Guys, any one of you has any other question regarding the installation or Samuel, this is the points that I was telling you about. You need to select the second option because this is a brand new installation. It's not an update or upgrade. Yeah, select the second one. And yes. Okay, and that's it. He's installing. Okay. What I wanted to do with you guys is to show you how to create the domain controller. Do you mind if you stay with it? I know I told you it's going to be like 30 minutes and it's taking around 1 hour, but do you mind if you spend 15 minutes more to show you how to install the domain controller?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay, good. Because it will save you time, you know, so by doing that, it will be much easier for you guys to do it because there is some tricky part in the domain controller. Okay, let me explain what should be done until the server installation is completed. So then we're going to create a domain controller, which I'm going to explain what is domain controller. And then the main purpose of creating a domain controller is to start implementing policy. I need to have control from the domain controller. You know what I mean? So I can control my network, prevent people from doing something, prevent people from using USB, from going to like the network setting, from browsing. I can do everything from my side, including password, which is a part of access control. I can enforce people to change their password every 90 days. I can enforce people to use a complex password. I can have full control. This is why we are using server edition. Okay, so okay, now the server has been completed. He's asking for the local administrator password. You need to create a password for a local admin. Now, let me clarify for you guys. There is two different kind of admin account in a network. There is a local admin and a domain admin. Okay, what is the difference? Local admin mean he is the administrator of the server. He have full access on the server only. Okay, domain admin will be created only after configuring our domain controller. Okay, and this means this guy has a full privilege all over the network, not only on this server, but on any other servers. Okay, so right now he's asking for the local admin account. Please create a password for your local admin account. This is privilege is limited to this server. Where is the domain account? It's not created yet. It will be created after creating our domain controller. Did you wrote the password right? I mean, did you use a complex password or something?
Yes.
Okay, so why it's okay. Could you click on OK or accept or? Okay, good. So now I created the server. Okay, when I'm creating the server after the first installation, okay. Now log in. You can log in by pressing Alt and Control and insert, not delete, insert, or from the menu there is an option send Alt and Control and insert, and type the password that you just created. Guys, when I create a server at the beginning, it's acting like a normal machine. It doesn't have any privilege yet. Okay, so right now the server doesn't have any role. It's not acting as a domain controller or a file server or a DNS. I'm going to explain everything of that in different lecture. But right now, this server, it's like a normal computer. It doesn't have any benefit, right? I need to add a role and feature to the server. I need to configure the server to act as a centralized server where I can have a full control of my network. How can I do that? Okay, I can do that by adding something called roles. So I can add a role for this server so he can act or work as a file server, where all people will be copying the file on this server, and I can put permission who can see files, who can edit, who can do, and who cannot do. Okay, I can put the server, for instance, as a database server. I can configure this server as a DHCP server. Forget about DHCP, what he's doing, but I can have a specific function for this server. By default, we don't have any function yet. Okay, so when the computer starts, it opens this dashboard that gives you the setting as an administrator to add different role to the server. Okay, what role I'm going to start with? The domain controller. I need to make this server as a domain controller. Okay, in 1 minute, what is a domain controller? Okay, kindly, Debbie, I'm sorry. Do I pronounce your name right? I'm just using like the first part of your name, Debbie. Is it?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Who's presenting?
It's Busayo.
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 I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. So
Yes.
Busayo, go back to Windows 7. Okay. As you can see in Windows 7, okay, after the installation is completed, guys, bear with me in this. Okay. He will ask me to create an account with the username and password. And whenever I need to log into this computer, I'm going to write the username and password, right or wrong. And this is the case in all our computers that we are using home, right? Right now, your laptops that you are using right now, whenever you try to log in, you will write your username and password, and you will be able to log into your computer, correct? Okay. Now, this username and password are stored where? I'm talking about your personal laptop that you are using right now. When you create an account on your laptop and you are using this account to log into your machine, this username and password is stored where?
In the Windows /system folder.
Yeah, it's inside the file called SAM, but what I meant is it's installed on your PC. How the computer verify if the username and password is right or wrong, and accordingly will let you log into the computer? Because the information are stored on your laptop, right? According to that, the administration will not have control on your PC. He cannot do any or prevent you from login or allow you to log in because everything is done locally. Okay. What I need to do is to store the username and password on the server, not on your PC. Okay. Accordingly, when you try to log in from your Windows 7 or your Windows 10 your Windows 10, the verification will happen on the server. Okay. So username and password will be sent to the server. It will verify, is there any user under this name and this account? If yes, the server will allow you to log into your computer. If not, the server will not allow you, right? So I need to have all the users' account stored on my server, not on my cloud. And by doing that, I can have control. If someone left the company, I will go to the server and delete his account. Now he cannot log into the network. Are you getting my point, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so now what I need to do, I need to create a domain controller. This is called the Active Directory, an Active Directory that will include all the user. I'm going to create all the user in this Active Directory, and then I'm going to give to the user on Windows 7 his username and password. Once he log in, the authentication will happen from my server, and I'm going to have control. I can see how many people logged in. I can put policy and so on. Let me show you step by step how it's done. Okay, this is as the main concept. So the first step, we're going to go to manage in the server. I need to go to manage. Most of the work will be done on the server. On the client, we don't do much, very few steps. Okay, and then the first option on the server is called add role and features. This is where we are configuring our server. We can make one server as a domain controller, a second server as a file server, as a DNS, as a database server. I can configure everything from here. So add role and feature. Excellent. So he will start this wizard. Click on next. Okay, next. Keep everything as default. Next, one more time. And okay, hold on here. Here, as you can see, he's giving you all the features that you, no, go back, go back. Are you, no. Cancel, start from the beginning. I want you to stop in the role windows, okay? Yeah, click next and wait. Yeah, exactly here. So here he's showing you, you ask to add a role to the server. What role would you like to add? Okay. Again, guys, let me remind you something. We are not the one who's doing that in a real environment, but we are building that to practice on it, to verify. Got my point? Okay. So here, as you can see, he's telling you those are all the roles that you can add. You can add a file server, domain controller, certificate server. You can add a lot of roles on this server. You can add one or more. which role would you like to add? I would like to add the second one, which is domain controller services. Okay, and click on next. I can add more, but you know, we don't need to add some things that we are not aware of right now. He will tell you, okay, to be able to add that, I need to add those features. Click on add. Okay. Then there is one more windows which include all the features that can be added. I will not add anything. I will keep the default and then next. So I only added one role, which is the domain controller. And then click on next till the end. Okay. Domain controller is done by two different steps. I mean, we're going to do that first, and then we're going to promote to a domain controller. So first, I'm adding the role as a domain controller until it finishes. Is Windows 7 completed? Will you check? Yes. Okay. You don't need to write. Just type username like the user1 or something, or any username, and then click on next. You don't need to add any password, anything. Just add a username, and that's it. Next. Don't add anything. Just next till the end. And yes, next, and next. And select any one of those, like work, for instance. And that's it. We are done with Windows 7. See how straightforward is the installation? Now you have a Windows 7 machine that you can do anything that you want. It will not affect your personal machine. If you need to test a hacking tool, if you need to try a virus or to analyze the virus, or if you need to do anything, you can do it from the virtual machine. So Windows 7 is ready now. So let's finish here. Okay, now we're done. Click on close. Excellent. So now I created the first part. There is one step remaining. And if you check up on the screen, you will find a yellow like a warning sign saying that it's not completed yet. You have one step remaining. And this is where all the setting will be done. Okay. So click, don't click on anything. As you can see, there is an option here, promote to a domain controller. Can you see it in blue? I don't want you to click on it right now. Okay. Promote on a domain controller. Before doing that, before doing a promote to domain controller, I want you to go to the menu of tools. Can you go to tools? Okay. Tools, guys, will include the management tool. Okay. If I'm creating, for instance, a file server, I should have a tool that allow me to manage the file server, creating permission, allowing or preventing some specific type of file to be copied on our file server, tracking, this kind of thing. Management tool will be here. If I'm creating a domain controller, the tools that should be used to create users and group and admin, it should be here, right? Right now, I don't have an option for managing the user. Okay, check inside this menu. Can you find an option for domain Active Directory user and group? Can you find anything under this name here? Actually, it's there, but it's not active yet. Okay, but if you checked this menu before installing the first part of the installation, you will not find it. What I'm trying to say is sometimes, if you need, for instance, to install a DHCP server, this is servers that assign IP. You will not find here a DHCP management tool, right? Check here, you will not find the DHCP management tool. When the DHCP management tool will show in this menu, after going to add rule and add DHCP and go through the steps, then you can go from here and use the management tool. So my point is, if you are checking for a management tool on the server and you cannot find it, it means that the tools are not found, the tools has not been installed, or the role has not been installed. Okay, getting back to close this menu and go back to this yellow sign and then click on promote domain controller, which is the blue link there. Here, this is you are completing the installation. Okay, because domain, it need to have a name and it need to have some information. So as you can see, he will start the wizard for a domain controller, and he's asking you, is this an additional domain controller in an existing forest? Or is this a new domain in an existing? What is a forest? Forest is a network that include many domain. Okay, like, you know, there is like a company called ABC, and under this company there is a sub company called CGE and a company called XYZ. So you have a big structure. Okay, in our case, this is a complete new forest, right? I don't have any forest or domain. This is something new, right? So when you install or when you start configuring the domain directory, you need to go to the third one, which is the domain add a new forest. Third one, because you are building something from scratch. Okay, forest include many domain, and then any domain need to have a name, right? So it could be company name.com, .net, but it need to have a name, even if this name is not published on the internet. So in our case, I'm going to assume that the company name is xyz.com. So I need to give it a name. So later on, I can tell those machine, Windows 7 and other machine, please join XYZ. You can write whatever name you want, but you need to memorize it. xyz.com, .net, .local, whatever. Okay. So this is going to be my domain name. Any domain need to have a name. Okay. Are you following, guys? If I'm going through too fast or I'm missing or anything is not clear, please let me know. Click on next, please. Okay. Next. Okay. Then there is, you know, some feature. I don't want to go through details, functionality level, and so on. Keep everything as a default. Click on next. Yeah, one second. There is a password needed here. Okay, please write any password. This is only for like restoration. If a problem happens, you can restore it. So in the anything that has this orange sign, the mandatory, it need to be written. So write any password. Just make sure to write the same password in password and confirmation.
1 minute, it's still trying to load.
Okay. This is like a crash network course. I hope it will be useful. Again, as a security professional, you need to be aware of that. Not an expert, but aware of those basics. Okay.
Sorry, I think my system is a little slow. Just a minute, please.
It's okay. Okay, guys, until this issue is solved, any questions so far? Just type any password, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anything. And guys, since we're going to be using a lot of password during our work, especially the technical work, make sure to use one common password so you will not forget it. This is not the best practice in business. You cannot ask people to do that, but I'm telling you, because sometimes in my classes, people will say, I forget the password, and then we need to do something about it. So, just make sure to use one password in our testing environment, but realistically, it's not done this way. Okay, click on next. Okay. We are almost there. Okay. Just what is remaining is to join or to make the machine, Windows 7 machine, join the domain. So we'll complete the domain installation, and then we're going to ask the machine to join the domain. Click on next. This is the NetBIOS name. Again, I don't want to go deep into the network. There is some topics that we will be covered during the network part. Here he's showing you the important file location. Click on next. Keep everything the same way it is. And here there is one important point to need to be aware of. Okay, we will not change anything, but it's the DNS. Okay, DNS, it's also one of the role, but it will be added automatically with the Active Directory. Okay. Now, just to let you know about the DNS, because it may clarify some of the point or some of the tasks that we're going to do. What is exactly a DNS server in a network? Okay. I'll give you a small example. We are all using our smartphone, right? Each one of us has a mobile number or his own number, right? So you have your own number with a country code. I have my own number and so on. But when you are communicating, when you try to call me, okay, are you memorizing all people numbers or are you using names? You are saving this guy under this name and this guy under this name and this lady with this name, right? So when you try to communicate with anyone, you are using name because it's easier to memorize. It's easier in management, right? But the cell network, the mobile network are communicating with each other using what? Using their mobile number. Are you getting my point, guys? So inside your phone, there is a translator that when you type, please call Mohamed Atef, he will check his number and call you and call me, right? This is the exact same concept in the network. Network devices, computers, tablets, smartphone, laptop, all of them has an identification number called the IP. So each machine has an IP. We will cover that in the network, right? But when it comes to communicating between the machine, it's much easier to communicate by name, server 1, server 2, even website. When you go to a website, the website has an IP, but you cannot memorize each website IP. You can go to google.com, he will translate it, and then go to the IP of Google. Same concept in the local network here. So you should have, this is a mandatory service, have a DNS, okay? Just take notes about that and you'll understand when we're gonna start joining the Windows Server to the domain. That when you communicate with the network, you're gonna communicate by name, but internally they are communicating with each other by IP. It's like mobile number, okay? So here, he's gonna tell you, I will install a DNS server, domain name services, that will translate whenever you are asking your network, I need to connect to this computer, and you write a name, he will go to the domain controller and check this computer name, what is the IP of this computer, and he will accordingly allow you to connect. But if you missed the installation of DNS, or if anything happened to the DNS server, or you ask him not to install the DNS server, then you try to communicate with any computer by name, it will not accept. You have to communicate by IP. I just want you to get the concept, but it will make sense once we install the Windows Server. Are you getting the concept of DNS in a very high level way?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to see that in a few seconds. Okay, now click on next, complete the installation. And complete till the end. And now we are done with the installation. Just 1 second, he will check the prerequisite before the installation. Give it a second. Okay, in our Windows Server right now, it's a standalone computer. It's not connected to any network. We don't have any control from the server on this network. It's a standalone computer, right? So after the installation is completed, we need to create an account for a user on the server, and then join the Windows Server to the server, join the Windows 7 to the server, and log in using the domain account. We'll take it step by step. We are almost there, guys. I know I took too much from your time today, but we are almost done. Guys, you're gonna all have to follow the same steps again and do this practice one by one, step by step yourself, and build the lab yourself. It's useful, guys. Okay? Even if we are not doing it realistically, but at least you're gonna understand the structure. What is the domain controller? You will be familiar with the server dashboard, the different menu, and so on. So I want you to start getting familiar with that. I'm also recording the session, so should I send you the video, or it's enough to use the lectures on the platform?
We said,
Please,
Okay, sure.
please send it as a reference.
Sure, I will. I'm expecting by Sunday that you build your network, because when we're going to explain the account and access and privilege, I will go to the server and show you. So I'm expecting at least to have the server up and running. Okay, and as you can see, it's straightforward. It's not that complicated. So please spend some time today and tomorrow. It shouldn't take more than 30, 45 minutes maximum. But don't keep a or task pending, because things will be more and more crowded. So we need to have our own lab ready, and we need to have all the basics completed. Okay, I think we can complete, right? Let's see, let me just zoom in. He's just giving you some recommendation, but actually this is just option. Click on next, please.
It's almost done. It's installing the domain controller.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, do me a favor while it installs, just go to your Windows Server machine. Okay, click on Start. And on computer, right click on it and click on Show on Desktop. No, I just want to have desktop. No, don't open my computer. Right, just right click on computer, click on Start, and right click on computer and click on Show on Desktop. Don't open my computer. Right click on it. Show on Desktop. Yes, and make sure the icon is on desktop so we can.
When you click on the start icon,
yeah, here from here, actually, sure. Yes.
On the right list, yeah, right click.
Okay, good. Okay, so now server client is ready. It's acting separately, but as I told you, server only one step. Windows 7 only one step we need to do. Everything will be done on the server. Server is completed now. It restart. And notice now when the server going to restart, it will have a different start windows. It will have a different login window. I'm sorry. Okay, it will show that this is a domain server. It's not a standalone server. This is a member of domain. You can have in one domain more than one server. You can have a domain controller, a DHCP, file server, database, a lot. But the core is the domain controller. Okay. You can enhance the performance by adding more memory to each virtual machine if you have enough memory. If your machine has like 16 GB of memory, so you can add for the server, for instance, 4 GB instead of 2. For the you cannot do that on the fly. You have to shut down the machine. But the problem here, how much RAM you have? No, let's see. You can see how much RAM you have here. So for instance, if you have 2, you can make it 4 before you start the machine, so it will be faster. But you need to make sure that you have enough memory on your physical machine. You cannot have total 8 and then start assigning 4 for Windows Server and 4 for Windows 7. It will not work. Don't change it now because you cannot change it while it's working. I think it restarted, not yet. Okay. Guys, I'm open for any question until the login start. Yeah, done. Okay, excellent. So now our domain controller is set, straightforward. Select from here, send, alt, control, and delete. And as you can see, now you are looking, see administrator for XYZ. What is XYZ? It's our domain. So this is the administrator, domain administrator account. This guy has all kind of privilege that you should imagine. And one of the things that you're going to see someday, you should not have an administrator account. It should have a different name. Okay, but this is the highest privilege in the network. He can log into any machine, not just to the server. Any machine on the network have full privilege, can change any setting. It's very, very serious. If someone can compromise this account, he can really mess up the network. Okay, now please log in using the passwords that you created at the beginning. Okay, what is remaining now? It's remaining to create a user account for the guy who's using Windows 7 machine, and that's it. Okay, now how can I create a user account, delete a user account, manage the account? Where is the management tool? I show you how to add role and feature, how to manage the server. Remember, from tools. So go to tools and go to Active Directory users and group. And this feature, if you install the server for the first time before installing the domain controller, it will not be there. It's only showing once you install the domain controller. As you can see, this is the panel from where we are managing all our users. We are disable the access, we are removing the user, we are give them more access. Everything is done from here. So go to our domain, which is on the left, the last one on the left, xyz.com, expand it, go to users, click on users, and this is from where we can create users and group. I can create a group for HR, a group for finance. As you can see, those are the current users, those are default users, guests and so on. But I didn't create any user yet. Okay, go in any empty place, right click on any empty place on the right side and click on new user. I'm now creating a new user because someone new hired in my company. I need to give him access to our network. Okay, and click on new, then user, and please create a user. Just write first name. You can write first and last name, but just first name will be enough. Okay, and write his username. Okay, and then click on next. Write his password. So you are creating a new user for a new employee. Wait, don't click on next. Remove this check sign that user must change his password. And then click on next. Something is wrong. Are you sure you use the same password? Just write something simple, okay? Excellent, finish. So I can create users for all the employees in my organization, right? I can divide them the group. We're going to see that later on. And then I can start giving people access or giving people their account to access our network. So now let's go to the Windows 7 machine, because this guy who just joined our company, he got his own Windows 7 machine. I need to let him join the domain so I can have control on his activity. How can I join the domain? What I can do, I can right click on my computer that is on desktop. Okay. And then I can go to properties. Okay. And this is the company properties. As you can see, the computer name, you can see on the right side, he's a member of a work group. He's not a member of our domain yet, right? I want you to go from the left side to advanced. And then I want you to go to computer name. And as you can see right now, he's showing you, he's a member of a work group or a domain. Work group, right? Right, guys, can you see?
Yep.
Okay, so we need to change that. Okay, click on change. And then I'm going to change, I'm going to select domain. And then I'm going to write here the domain name. Okay, let me ask you something. Before you presume. I know your IP, the server of the IP of your server. Okay, just remove the name, type this IP 192.168. I know the server name, server IP. I'm sorry. Just remove the name and type the IPs that I'm going to tell you. 192.168.163.130. Okay, and click on OK. It will not accept. Okay, good. Click on OK. Remove this IP and write the server name. So I try to connect to the server using the IP, it's not accepting. Put the server name, click on OK and put the server name.
Why doesn't it work with the IP?
I will tell you. And click on OK. It will also not accept. Why, guys? Why he do not understand or he cannot figure out the name or the IP of the server?
Because of the .com.
This Windows 7 has not been added to the domain computers.
We are trying to do that. Yes, please. Yeah, tell me.
I think is the IP. They are not on the same network.
No. Who is responsible to resolve name to IP and IP to name?
DNS.
Exactly. The Windows Server machine, when you are writing a name or an IP, he need to go somewhere to resolve the name to IP or IP to name, right? You didn't tell the computer, the Windows 7 machine, where is the DNS server, right? Right now, this Windows 7, he don't know where is the DNS server. You got my point? So when you are writing a name, he do not know from where he should resolve it. Okay, let's do something. Go to the server.
But with the IP, it doesn't need to resolve, right?
Actually, yes, it doesn't need to resolve, but I gave a random IP. It's not the IP, the real IP of the server. But let's do something and let's just prove our point. Okay, open the start. Start on the Windows server. I want you to open the start. Not on the Windows 7, Windows server.
Yes, sorry.
It's okay. Guys, I promise this is the final step. Okay, I know I took so much. I was expecting 45 minutes. It's almost 2 hours, but this is the final step. Okay, click on start, type CMD, open the command line. And whoever, this is new to him, whoever didn't install a server or open a command line, don't worry. We're going to do that a lot in the upcoming lecture, so you will get familiar. Type ipconfig. This is a command that shows the server IP. Again, I'm not asking you to be expert. You will learn. What is the IP of this computer?
192.168.56.128.
Excellent. Go to the Windows Server machine. Windows 7 machine, I'm sorry, Windows 7 machine. And I want to change the network setting of this computer, okay? Close this error message and go below on the right on the network setting, right click on it, open network and sharing, and go to change adapter setting. Don't worry about the steps, everything is explained in the video, okay? This is where we are changing the network settings, the IP, the DNS. Right click on this network adapter and go to properties. And go to TCP/IP4. The good thing is that if you watch the videos that I uploaded on the platform, it explains step by step what I'm doing. It explains what is the DNS. I'm just going so fast right now, okay? And I want you in the DNS below, see the options, the DNS, which is in the bottom, okay? Click on DNS and write the server IP here.
192.168.56.128.
Sorry, Dr. Atef, I have a question.
Sure. Just 1 second before you raise the question. By doing that, okay, I'm telling to this Windows Server machine, listen, whenever I'll give you a name and you need to know the IP of this name, go to the server. They know all the name and all the IP. You know what I mean? So here I'm showing to my client where is the server, where he can resolve the name. Got my point? Mm-hmm. Now click on OK and try to join the server using the name one more time and let's see. I'm sorry, who had a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Please.
So do I need to make that IP static on the server?
Yes, yes. It's better to make it static because, you know, otherwise it will change from time to time. It will like change all the network. But again, today I didn't want to open many topics about static IP and dynamic IP, and yes, I just wanted to have a basic idea about the network in a very high level. Okay. But everything that we talked about, like for instance, the difference between private IP and public IP, and the criticality of both of them, the DHCP server, everything will be explained. Because as I told you, you don't need to be an expert, but you need to be familiar with what I'm talking about. Now, right now, I wrote the name. I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Click on OK. Now, after writing the name, and let's see what will happen. Okay, now it's different. Because he went to the server, he found the IP, and then he was able to know which domain I'm asking about, right? So now he's asking me, okay, I can let you log in or be added to the domain, but you need to allow me to do that. Who should allow people to log into the domain? Which account I should use here? My local account? I mean, he's asking for username and password to enable this machine to join the domain.
Domain account.
Thank you so much. Because otherwise, if I'm using my Windows 7 account, it doesn't make sense. By doing that, anyone can join the domain by himself. No, joining the domain is the critical task. Only the domain administrator can allow that. So here you need to write down the administrator account of your server, right? So administrator with the password.
Mohammed, I have a doubt here.
Can I click OK?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, he will ask for restart. Click on OK and restart the machine to log in.
Mohammed,
yes.
I have a doubt here.
Yes, please
so
go ahead.
Actually, I went through all the videos. About the configuration of the virtual machine.
Yes.
And here, this is the step. where I got stuck. I tried my hard to resolve this one, but I'm not able to. I'm not able to integrate two machines.
Sure,
yeah. So this is the step where I wasn't able to perform further. After changing the IPs and doing everything from the recordings which you have shared on the course, but still, even following here, I'm not able to resolve this one.
Are you talking about the DNS? Because always people forget to put the DNS in the setting.
No, I did that. I did that as well. Even I saw another video of yours. You talking about the firewalls getting interrupted.
Yes.
I tried that as well, but still I'm not able to do this one.
No, you have to tell me what error you are getting so we can try to troubleshoot it.
See, okay, the same thing. An Active Directory domain controller for the domain company xyz.com could not be contacted. So my Windows 7 is not able to contact my server.
Okay, I'll get to you. Let's finish that and that I get you. Okay, click on OK. And then click on OK. And he will restart the machine. Click on OK on this screen or close. And he will ask to restart. Please restart. Now, one last question for you guys. When this guy gonna restart his machine now, using which account he should log it in?
Domain
user account.
The domain account.
not the admin account. I mean, right now I allow this guy to join the domain, right? Now he needs to log into the domain, and now I should have control over his machine, right? Now should he?
Create the user.
Yes, exactly. Using the accounts that we created on the users. Remember, we went to the Active Directory user and computer, and we created an account with a password. I need to give him his account to use it. Yeah, exactly this one. Okay. So anyone that will join the domain need to log in using this account. And by doing that, now I have a domain controller and I have control. I can check people activity and can assign policy. I can assign password policy. I can assign the security policy. Everything will be there. So here, wait. If you log in using this account, this is logging locally to your workstation. It's not joining the domain. You need to click switch user below. Exactly, and use another user. And then right here is the username and password for the new accounts that we created. This is how we are making the machine logging to the domain. Okay, is it clear, guys? I know it's a lot of steps, but you are taking like 4 or 5 lectures of network. Okay, why do we need to know that? You need to know that because you need to be aware of the structure of the domain controller, of the network structure. In a very high level, there is a lot of details, but in a very high level, you know what I mean? So you know about the Active Directory user and computer. One step's remaining. I don't think we have time to do it, but please watch the video. It's straightforward. How to apply a policy. How can I create a policy on the server? And when I apply it, it will apply on the machine. For instance, I don't want user to have a start. He cannot click on start. For instance, how can I do that? So please watch GPO and how to configure GPO from from the videos I uploaded on platform and do it. You already have the network setting. Okay. By doing that, you went through the full cycle of creating a domain controller. Okay. Now getting to your question, Faizan, actually this could be a network, a communication issue. You need to make sure that you didn't change the network setting in my in the VMware, which means that you didn't change the NAT to bridge it or any other setting, and you need to try to ping from the virtual machine to each other. Okay, sometimes the firewall on the Windows 7 machine will block the access, so make sure to disable the firewall.
I even tried that as well. But it didn't go through. Okay. If you don't mind, can I share my screen? Because I'm on the same step.
You can do something. I tell you what. There is a program called Microsoft Recording. Do you know that, guys? You know about this program?
No.
Just search on it. It's a Windows program, Microsoft Recording.
Okay.
When you run this program, it will start capture all the steps that you are doing.
Okay.
So you can repeat the steps while this program is running. Okay, and it will capture step by step what you are doing and save it as a file. You can send me this file.
Okay.
You got my point? I'll be able to figure out what could is, or at least I will tell you where to troubleshoot.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, guys, as you can see, 2 lectures remaining. GPO, how to set up what is GPO and how to set up. Have a look on that. Okay. But don't worry if you start doing this network and you get stuck with something. It's okay. But if you do it just for one time, you will be very comfortable with this network setting. Okay, guys.
I have a question.
Please.
Can we install Windows 7 64-bit? If I have a 64-bit machine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you have Windows, yeah, you can. VMware, you have different option.
Can Unix machines be added to this domain controller?
I heard it can't. It's complicated, but I never did it actually. Realistically, it should be Windows, but I heard that you can add a Linux machine to a domain controller. But I never did it before, or I even don't know how it's done. But I can check for you. But
as realistically, long as you support LDAP,
I'm sorry?
As long as it supports LDAP protocol, you can. LDAP is the Linux version of
Yes. I heard it can be done, but realistically, you will not have the full control like Windows. So Linux, we are managing in a different way. We have a Linux or a Unix team. Windows, we are managing in a different way.
Okay.
Okay, guys, let me show you the program I was telling you about. You know, it may help you troubleshoot. But guys, just a piece of advice, okay? And this is for your own interest, that always try, before raising a problem, try here, try. Sometimes people raising a problem, and the problem with that, they wrote the IP wrong. You know what I mean? Just get the troubleshooting type of skills. You know what I mean? Before raising a problem, just make sure that it's not something minor. Okay, let me just show you the problems that I was telling you about. I was telling you about. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The program name is Step Recorder. Okay. Very, very useful program. It's a Windows built-in program. But when you start the program and you click on Start Recording, let me show you. Today I really have issue in my machine. Yeah, see, then if you are doing something, you click on Start Recording, and then you open like a Windows, and then you try to change setting, and you select something, and you open your browser. You do whatever you want while the program is running. Once you stop recording, okay, you will have a file that include all the steps that you did. You know what I mean? You open that, you click on here. So even not just for troubleshooting, but if you are doing something that you need to memorize later on, okay, the step by step that you did, the database names that you wrote, everything that you did, you can use this program. It's very, very useful. Then you can save it as a file and keep it. It's useful for troubleshooting and useful for recording or document a specific process. And it's not taking storage at all. You know what I mean? Even if you go through the step, it will highlight which button you clicked on it, which option you selected. So it's not just taking it screenshots, but even it will point to the things that you are doing. Which button you clicked on next, you selected this option, and so on. Step recorder. Okay, guys. Any question? I think I need some coffee. I've been talking continuously for 2 hours. So
one last question, Mohammed. I mean,
sure,
step recorder.
Sure.
Step recorder. I mean, you install it from somewhere?
No, it's built-in in Windows.
Sorry, I hope the traffic isn't too much.
It's in Windows.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a built-in tool. Very useful.
No. Take your time.
You're searching it from.
I think, guys, you need to mute your mic unless you have a question.
You searched this app from where? I mean, is it in the?
Yeah. Click on Start and type Step Recorder.
Step. Oh, I got it. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yeah. Okay, guys, it was fun. I hope it was the same for you. Do you have any questions?
Hello, doctor. Sorry, I joined late.
Sure.
Okay, can we have